Hello, my name is IsmailPodcast1 with the Voice of the Trenches, Growing Up in STL podcast, and I would like to share a little bit about my experience and the impact of gun violence. So on October 24th, 2022, my school experienced a tragic school shooting that left a student and a teacher dead. This is a very tragic experience for me as well as students in my school, and we were left isolated and afraid. Gun violence is a very harmful and common issue in the St. Louis community, and it strikes many people and it takes countless lives. I believe that gun violence is something that should be talked about more. It is something that should be talked about on a state and national level, and it is an issue that needs to be resolved. Students, teachers, mothers, fathers, children are being killed senselessly because of gun violence. There are illegal guns on the streets. People are having access to guns. People are having access to weaponry without proper use, without proper care, and they are harming others. This is very harmful to our communities as well as to our youth. As a youth growing up in St. Louis, I should not have to fear for my life. I should not have to fear in my own school that there is a shooter in the school. No student should ever have to feel that way. So I can personally attest to the impacts of gun violence in our community. Gun violence is something that should be lessened in our community. There are many ways to stop different types of gun violence, but the first thing is to train people how to de-escalate situations, how to resolve their conflicts without violence. Resolving conflicts without violence can help reduce gun violence because people do not feel the need to use a gun. Instead, they need to talk out their problems. They need to be able to talk to someone. Another issue that can tie into gun violence can also be mental health. If people have mental health needs, if people feel isolated, if people do not have the support that they need, they may be more prone to causing gun violence because they are trying to express themselves in a negative manner. They are trying to get revenge on others. They are trying to change and put things in their own hands without the proper treatment or care. And this is very, very harmful. So as I said before, gun violence is a very tragic experience in our community that many people can relate to. And while I am just sharing one story from my school, from my experience, there are probably hundreds or thousands of children that have experienced gun violence, whether it be a school shooting, whether it be a shooting in their community, or whether it just be a confrontation. Gun violence is something that needs to be addressed. So the reason why we are making this podcast and why we are making this episode is to bring awareness to gun violence, is to bring awareness to these issues in our community, and just to create a safer place for youth to express themselves, for people to be able to talk about these issues and to be able to make a difference in their communities. And that's why it's so important to talk about gun violence, because if we talk about it and if we make change, we'll be able to make a difference.